Hello again. We have here today the mayor of the city of Prizren, this beautiful city that has welcomed us this week. And we would like to invite him to the stage to say something. Mr. Shahir Totai.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. As a mayor of the city, it's a great pleasure to stand in front of you and to be able to welcome many people from around 60 countries, which I learned now from the people I was talking to. Indeed, it's a great pleasure to have all you from many different countries, and most probably some of you are for the first time in Kosovo and for the first time in Prizren. So despite the fact that we are in the end of this conference, I would like to say welcome to the beautiful city of Prizren and welcome to Kosovo. I'm not an expert for technology, but what I heard is that the technology will most probably be effective tools in the hand of the mayor and his team in order to provide solutions for the better use of the public space in the future. And I'm sure that we have some experts from Kosovo and from Prizren City, and I will most probably contact them in order to ask them how to use and how to maximize use of the public space in the future, because I know that technology can provide solutions. As you probably heard, Prizren is the second largest city in the country with close to 200,000 inhabitants. Around 20% are non-resident. It's a city well known for the diversity, for many languages, for many religions, and never have a problem in that regard. We have inherited many values, and we use those values in order to promote the city, to develop the tourism, and to attract as many people as we can. And in this regard, again, I would like to welcome everybody for being here. And I know that you saw the city, and why not having you back as a tourist maybe one day and spend some time. I heard that you had a wonderful concert last night here, and a few weeks ago we had a huge stage over there because the first Rock and Blues Festival took place in the city of Prizren, and we have organized it for the first time, which means that the city is becoming the city of attractions, city of workshops, city of conferences, city of sports events. And in order to develop the tourism as an essential component of economical development, we use all the things that we can. I heard that this is the last day, and I'm sure that you learned many new things. You met each other, you socialized with each other, and I'm particularly glad that it happened in Prizren. And I'm sure that you have good memories when you get back to your countries. And thanks for coming, thanks for joining. And I would be very happy to see you again in Prizren in another occasion, another event. And again, why not as a tourist? Now, thank you very much for your attention, and let's continue with the rest of the program. Thanks.
And now we have a surprise guest who has a long connection with Kosovo, and he will share more about the experience now with you. Please join us. Kyung Soo-yeon.
Dear colleagues and dear friends, it's my great pleasure to be here to share some of the story. And usually in general, once you have a coincidence, this can happen all the time. Many times, not all the time, but many times. Once it has a kind of multiple happen, sometimes it actually come to the challenge as a perfect storm, for example, can be kind of natural disaster or catastrophe disaster. And sometimes they also call, okay, thank you. Sometimes also is as a good way of the coincidence is become or can be called as a miracle. But as many of you are well aware, open miracle is not coming, but there is a good reason to be arrived. Oops. Yes. So today I'd like to actually share with you some sort of series of the coincidence. And this week, Monday, 26th of June 2023, I was invited to visit at the UNMIK headquarters, UN mission in Kosovo headquarters in Pristina, which one is 26th June 2023, just a couple of days ago. As you can see, I was a part of the UN mission in Kosovo, 26, coincidentally, of the 1999. So that's why I actually share this kind of the personal story with my colleague, Timo, Erin, and our colleague in the Kashan, and so that they actually pushed me to, why not? You can actually share with us. So this is actually me, but unfortunately, because at the time of the digital camera was not like today. You can imagine that, right? And I was actually in the waiting for call from the United Nations, and I actually came from the UN headquarters from New York to stay and stand by at the Skopje. And then this is the day that I'm crossing the border, and there is a lot of queue over the area. Oops, yes, and then, sorry that it was passed. There are a lot of challenges over the area of the Kosovo as a whole, and looted and destroyed and challenging and suffering for the whole of the people. And then we actually start to, my special representative of the Secretary General, my boss, actually to start listening of the Kosovo, that what was happening, how it can be. So he's a SRS, Mr. Sergio Di Mello, and also listening from all this is from my pocket, actually. I didn't bring any of those, but it's, coincidentally, it was in my pocket, so I can share with you. And then Mr. Di Mello actually visited it, so I actually went to the Gilan as a regional chief engineer to start up the mission. And then he actually told me and tasked me to do so is why, Kyungsoo, why not? You can actually go and find the tallest building and put on the flag. We have no such kind of the good material whatsoever at the time. And so that we just try our best to have whatever possible of the wooden stick to actually put on the flag, because his intention is to show that the UN is already arrived in the town. So assure that our Kosovo people in the village has to be rest assured that they are in the safe. So that's the kind of message that he liked to be conveyed. So that has been, and this is kind of my office in Gilan as a regional chief. I was very young, right? And then 26th of June, same day, after 24 years, I'm heading to the Pristina. So you see that what the change is. Of course, seeing this kind of changes, you may see that behind the scene, there are a lot of challenges, suffering, troubles, and problems, and so on and so forth. This has to be overcome. But I'm so glad that our dear colleague of the Kosovo has made a good overcome on this, made a good success on this. And I was actually invited to, not invited, guided to, with my UN colleague, to go to the Pristina Mall. I don't know whether, do you have been there? Anyone? Only few of them. For those who have not been there, please just visit it, because it's just 3 months old. 3 months old. And this is inside of the mall. Can you imagine that? And then I actually heading to the very beautiful city of the Prizren to see that all of this nice thing. And then the same day, the couple of days, the same day, and then the next day, and then we actually had a very exciting kind of the activities of the FOSS4G as usual. And I also like to tell another story. This is one other story, but I mean that as you can see, since 2009, our colleague in Kosovo made the gathering together that how the open source and free software can actually be benefit to the community and friends and colleagues, and how this can be shared, how it can be transferred, how it can be trained, and how it can be make kind of useful things and adding so much value. So eventually they made it today. And I consider that it's very, very successful. If you agree with me, I'd like to actually ask you to join the big round of the, applause. I really thanks to our local committee that you made an excellent job done. See, I think some of you may not remember what is this, but I think many of you are also remember, right? Another story that I like to actually share with you, which is actually the power of the free open source software. It was happened to me in 1989 and through the 1992 I was actually be chosen as a research fellow for a special joint project between Republic of Korea and US, to develop certain simulation system for the military use, because I was actually the active duty as a captain, Army captain of the Korean Army. So I went to the Boulder, Colorado, that happened to be used, this one as a base, material-based, tool-based, source of the starting point to develop the simulation package, which is actually geographic resource analysis support system. I'm sure that you may know all of this one, I guess, as a FOSS4G community, right? And that was happened, and in 1994, I was also chosen to go to the Somalia as a peacekeeper, not as a UN peacekeeper, but not actually UN employee, but as a Korean engineer battalion and Korean contingent. So that also because since I learned all those kind of the FOSS4G GIS software, which actually giving me a lot of many stories afterward. And another story that as mentioned that I was here in June, and then right after that, after I returned back to the New York, I also be sent to the Sierra Leone to start it. And then also January 2000, I went to the Timor-Leste, that my colleague Timo was there too as well. So throughout this one, I learned very much, unfortunately, the United Nations has not been well utilized of the geospatial technologies. And we use a very traditional aspect, which has been used as thousands of years as a paper map. So in that sense, that the paper map doesn't actually be really building the knowledge of what you are doing, what you are going to be planning, what you are going to be heading to, and so on and so forth. So I see that there is a really shame on all of them. And I actually be address that issue to start with it. So this is actually the 2000 October 30 that I prepared. And then actually, my proposal to create the GIS program for the UN peacekeeping operation. And then actually be to the director who actually has been reviewed. But I'm telling you that I told him life-saving technology. So because I must have it, to say something, we have to be a little bit put on some of the weight. And then Mr. Hosni Medili, he's the director, actually give that approval on same day. What is the strange that you can see was 30 October. I submitted the 30 October. He was very much a genius to understand about whole 20 pages of my proposal. And then he signed up. This is not the case. The case is that I submitted this one like 6 months ago, and who was not actually be favored to support it due to many different reasons. One of the reasons is that, as you can imagine, peacekeeping means is very much timely responses, and which means that there are so many different kind of competing priority. Out of the current existing priority, on top of that, Kyungsoo is coming to present and propose that some detailed mapping, because we have been done over the last 50, 60 years of the UN operation by the people map, why we have to pay for that extra attention on this aspect. That was kind of his view, but not only that, all other aspects. But I think that that's why I went to back and forth. The date that he actually be confirmed is the date he actually asked me, why don't you resubmit it? I will approve it immediately. So that was actually the starting point, that how we actually been doing that one. After another 20 years, this is today, we have a whole of the UN peacekeeping mission actually have made possible to use of this very smart kind of geospatial technology in the UN peacekeeping mission, but also most of our UN Secretariat, as well as that our colleague of the whole UN agency, that how we can actually benefit out of this technology, as well as the data sharing, and so on and so forth. I also unfortunately, to be briefly share about the why I'm here. We, the people of the United Nations, determined to save succeeding generation from the scourge of war, which twice in our lifetime has brought untold sorrow to mankind. I believe that this is a preamble of the UN Charter. I believe that in human history, this organization was really thankful. We like to be stopped. We like to be sustained. This is the whole story. And then they actually have a mandate by themselves is to maintain international peace and security, to promote economic and social development, as well as to promote the protect and human rights. So this is how much important that we may be aware. This is why I'm coming here in the Pristina and all of the place of the Kosovo. And then another important aspect that we must build up some of the sustainable mechanism throughout this sustainable development goal. So I see that this is a very important. On top of that, UN with the OSGO, FOSS4G. So what is the relationship that I like to actually mention that? With our colleague of the OSGO Foundation and Maria Brobelli, who is actually chairing of our initiative, And also all of the foundation, they actually create, because I met the 2015 in Seoul, and they actually build up the UN committee to assist and help. So we actually build up the UN OpenGIS under the leadership of the Professor Gi-jun Lee and Professor Maria Brurbelli. I was actually facilitator. I'm still facilitator and assistant to our co-chair. And then we build up many different kind of aspects that how open source can actually be effectively, optimally used for the many different kind of UN demand in general, particularly from peacekeeping to start, and then all of other places. We created all of this working group, starting from hybrid GIS platform, and then capacity building, data collection, geospatial artificial intelligence and analytics, open drone map, and 3D and digital twin, and the smart maps that we actually have so many sessions here though. So these are the heroes, these are the champion, and these are the leader of this community to drive, to facilitate, to understand, and also make a move of the whole of this aspect. The important aspect of our activity is one of them is to how to bridging, how to introduce, how to actually connect between as a broad sense of the UN with the FOSS4G community. This is one of our very interesting agenda that we are continuously moving forward on this. Again, this is my last slide, and not least, but I like to be highlight, and I like to ask you and your favor to remember the people and the United Nations. Sometimes UN is something, maybe Kyungsoo, Timo, and few others, maybe our partner like Erin and so on. But this is not the one. We, the people of the United Nations, means you and me. We are all United Nations. Sometimes we are completely forgotten. Sometimes we don't know how to actually, the mandate was given to us. So I appreciate that if we can remember to move forward, your good will of the whole effort can one way or the other to contribute all of these mandate of the United Nations. And this is yours. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's very, very hard to understand me by now. So as we go on, this will stop completely at some point. One of my legs, it's almost failing me, so you see what happens. Dear everyone, dear older and newer friends, this time I stand here very humbled and honored before you to really thank you for being part of this amazing experience, being part of FOSS4G 2023 Prizren. For all of us, and I hope for all of you too, it has been more than just a conference. It has been a very vibrant place, a vibrant meeting area. We have met a lot of you, and we are very proud to share this cultural exchange and this just exchange of knowledge between all of us. We thank the city of Prizren, we thank the mayor for being with us today, and we're very grateful for their hosting, for accepting us to be part of their community, especially with Prizren being a very multicultural city. It directly represented and fit very well with the concept of the conference also. But this would have also not been possible without the whole generous support of all the organizing team, all the individuals that helps us. And as we proceed with this conference, I would be honored to call Angelos, not sure on the pronunciation of the name, from the FOSS4G board, to just say one or two words about what you're doing and what you continue to do and help the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, dear community, dear friends, dear organizing committee, thank you for bringing the FOSS4G spirit to Prizren, Kosovo for this year's event. You did an amazing job, and we all thank you for doing this. One thing, we would like you to remember that this organization is a volunteer-based one, and we need your help. We need everybody to contribute. Please join up. Please be active in the elections that we're going to have this year. Nominate people that you know from here to become charter members, and please help us so that we can organize more things like this excellent FOSS4G. And stay for the AGM afterwards, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks to all the board members. And as we move forward in the program, it is time for a specific thank you and an acknowledgement for an achievement in the community, the Sol Katz Award. I invite all the people involved with the award.
Ahí está. It is a no tied to accommodation of the 2023 Sol Gas Ano. In this reality, the 10th time that is award in Zagreb. A traditional is that last year received him the award to the winner. The winner from last year, Sandro Santilli, is now here at the conference. So this event around Andrea Heimer and Astrid Amy. I am Ariel Andieni, before of the Low Male Lingman, who won the award in 2021, had to honor to do it. The Sol Gas Award for Geospatial Freedom Open Source Software is awarded annually by OCIO to individuals who have demonstration leadership in our community. I'm sorry.
No problem. So the award is named after Solomon Stuart Katz. Sol Katz was an early pioneer of our community and left behind a large body of work in form of applications. So in format of specifications and utilities. In the early 80s, Sol assisted in the development of a public domain GIS pact called MOSS, you might know. It stands for Map, Overlay and Statistical System. And this project was the first that was recognized as heritage, OSGeo Heritage Project, and you will find the code on GitHub. This software was arguably the first open source GIS software in the world. He was also one of the first involved in public data translation utilities to convert DEM or read SDTS files. Sol was also a frequent contributor to many geospatial list servers, providing much guidance to the geospatial community at large.
He was a great person, always full of laughter and good humor. Sadly, after fighting non-Hodgkin lymphoma, he died in 1999. but his legacy still lives in the world of geospatial free and open source software. So, with this award, we both acknowledge the work of community members and pay tribute to one of its founders. Some weeks ago, we asked our community to make nominations for outstanding members of our community. Then, the former recipients of the award voted. We received many passionate nominations. Thank you to everyone who submitted once. I will pass now to Evan to announce our winner for year 2023.
I'm honored to announce the name of the new recipient of the Solcott Award. This individual has been a long-standing history of involvement within our community. He or she was a OSGeo board member and was involved in the early years of the System Administration Committee. This person is also a member of 4 different project steering committees of OSGeo projects. You will meet him or her in every time a conference is organized. This person was part of the group which came with a GeoJSON specification. He or she is an excellent leader, a mindful developer, and a valued friend. This person has organized the modernization of the documentation of GDAL and Proj. He or she was an instigator of the GDAL barn raising to enhance and refresh the geodetic capabilities of those projects. This person leads an open source software consultancy focused on LiDAR, point clouds, and geospatial software. He or she is a proponent of COPSI, the cloud-optimized point cloud format. Of course, I'm speaking about Howard Butler.
Members of the award committee and to the OSGeo community for recognizing me with this honor. I regret to not have the opportunity to travel to Prizren and share a wonderful week of FOSS4G with you, but I trust you will go home enthused, exhausted, and recharged with new ideas to explore, new software to try, and new friends to correspond. I've always felt this way after attending FOSS4G, along with the frustration of wondering why all geospatial conferences can't match its mix of technical opportunity, camaraderie, and fun. When I look at the esteemed list of SoulCats awardees, I see personal mentors, brilliant software developers, staunch community advocates, and a few highly effective cat herders. A common trait I hope I share with them is one of commitment to the community through sharing of software, expertise, and leadership. Most awardees are still active participants in our community because it is uniquely fun and friendly. And like many of you, I will plan to keep coming back for more mailing list threads, pull requests to merge, and events to attend. The glee of seeing people take something I've built and use it in ways I couldn't imagine does not wear off. I must thank several individuals for their support during almost 20 years being active in this community. First is Mike Smith and David Finnegan of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Cold Regions Research and Engineering Laboratory. Poodle would not exist without Krell's support, and it has supported its evolution into a foundational toolbox for geospatial point cloud software. Recent efforts of both North Road Consulting and Lutra Consulting to bring Poodle and cloud-optimized point cloud capabilities to QGIS have validated Krell's investment in supporting my team to bring them through their fledgling years to a place where an audience as huge as the QGIS user base can depend upon them. Speaking of team, thank you to Connor Manning and Andrew Bell of Hobu Inc., Brad Chambers of Grover Consulting, Martin Tobias of Lutra Consulting, and Norman Barker of TileDB for participating in Poodle's development, creation, and maintenance. Without their efforts, Poodle would be more frustrating to use, perform poorly, and not be as capable. I must also thank stalwart members of the FOSS4G community who have mentored, supported, and tolerated me throughout the years. These include Evan Rualt, Danielle Morissette, Sean Gillies, and Frank Warmerdam from GDAL, Christian Evers from Proj, Steve Lime from MapServer, and Paul Ramsey from PostGIS. They are often initial recipients and respondents to my initiatives. But without their guidance, efforts like the GDAL sponsorship program would have ended as a few fire emails and a shrug. Finally, I would like to thank Martin Eisenberg, the creator of LazTools, LazZip, and Rapid Lasso, who tragically died in 2021. Martin was a brilliant friend who I first met emailing to ask if he wanted to put an open source license on what became LAS tools that he had posted on his website. I enjoyed collaborating with him on open source licensing, data formats such as LAZ and LAS, and building the burgeoning open source geospatial point cloud software ecosystem. Without his efforts, the LiDAR community would be awash in proprietary data and less capable software that didn't interoperate. Were he alive today, I'm sure he would be attending FOSS4G with you and attempting to navigate his paddleboard down the Lombardy. Insofar as the sage wisdom of an award acceptance speech, I don't know that I have much to say other than our unique community has very strong values of reciprocation, respect, and trust, and we must continue to cherish and protect it through our interactions, contributions, and representation. Things the FOSS4G community has built are going to live on for a much longer time than we realize, especially with the AI training algorithms munching everything up and regurgitating back to us. Without reciprocation, I might add. I await the day when the algorithms can tell us the proper axis order, datum realization, and vertical reference system of a random set of coordinates in EPSG 4326. Our community will just have to continue training them until we reach that point, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you until we do. Thank you again for this wonderful award.
Thank you, everyone. Now we would like to extend a very special thank you to someone here, and that's Vasile, whose contribution to the community have been nothing but extraordinary, and he has been attending every FOSS4G ever. Come to the stage.
Okay, thank you. I was not expecting this. So FOSS4G really changed my life, and I tried since 2006 to change the life of others, inspiring as much as I can, doing this kind of events and other things. So I'm deeply honored, and thank you so much for the wonderful time here in Prizren and other events, and I hope to see you all in many, many events from now on. And thank you, that was a huge surprise. I didn't expect that. Thank you.
Thank you, and now you get to get that home and remember us forever, and hopefully come back too. As we go on with the ceremony, we would like to visit some of the key highlights and achievements of this edition. This is how we looked one day when we were all together in the same place. And who would we be without a map, at least in the conference? We tried looking at data and seeing where everybody is coming from. This is, and we thank Raymond for doing this for us. I don't know where he is now, but thank you, Raymond. We have a winner from Europe and from everywhere, I think, apart from Kosovo. The country with the most attendees here is Germany. Woo! Dankeschön. Continuing with Netherlands, dankjewel. Yay. And everyone else. And we do have representation from the world. Looking at the numbers at the registration, out of 733 registered participants, the people that could make it here made it to 683. We've heard of some canceled flights. We feel very, very bad for the people that couldn't make it here, but we hope they were present through our online media or online video streaming. As we also mentioned in the opening and successfully achieved to have the 44 workshops on Monday and Tuesday, around 274 plus minus some cancellations of the general track talk and all the 36 academic talks. From the talks, we've had a very big interested people. I don't know how to say that, but we have a lot of interest, and you might have also seen how some of the rooms were full. We are very sorry for that, but we're very glad to see that we had that much interest and that much participation in all the rooms. That led to also repeating some of the talks, and we thank the speakers for agreeing to do a talk twice, just so that everybody has access to it. Next. Yeah, these are some pictures of the rooms. Hi, Rosa. She's my friend. She just left, I think. But as you saw, some of the room capacities were smaller than we had anticipated, and we apologize for that. But very glad we all had the chance to see some of the talks. And we're going to be making all the presentations available. We will be sharing a link of all the presentation for everyone, so you could at least see the content of the presentations that you could not follow. The mouse. I'm touching the mouse. There is a mouse. Apparently there is a mouse. I didn't know about that. And I need to know where I am. Yeah, so this is not the end. Even though we're closing the main part of the conference, things are still happening. Tomorrow, today first, and then tomorrow and on Sunday. Do not leave immediately after here, after the closing ceremony. We have the OSGEO. No, that was the slide before. Yeah, AGM. I'm very sorry, very, very tired. So exactly after the closing ceremony, there's the OSGEO AGM. And then tomorrow and Sunday, all day, community sprint. And also tomorrow for who have signed, and we're gonna be doing the tours of Kosovo. Yeah. We would go back to thanking everybody that made this happen. A grand thank to OSGEO and to FLOSC for hosting this amazing event and making this happen. The organizing partners, OPSIN and Space Syntax, who's me. Thank you. All the other partners, starting with the Ministry of Economy, European Commission, GIZ, Municipality of Prizren, the Kosovo German Chamber of Commerce, and the institution of the Geologic Institution of Kosovo. Also the media partners, a grand thanks to everyone for sharing the story, for keeping us in the media. Also a very big thank you to our local media partner, Katror, and I'm emphasizing that one also only because it's going to be a lot of them, but we would really like to highlight having a local media partner in the conference. The community partners, of course, GeoChicas, thank you. Thank you, Miriam. And everyone else, a special thank you to UBT, the university here, which allowed us to use their spaces, and also to Open Labs from Albania, who have helped us a lot with everything. Some of the local partners, which I'm sure you have seen or tasted by now. A lot of you have been traveling with e-taxi, and a grand thanks to Birra Peja, which is beer, Peja, and Stone Castle. So you've been drinking these two this week. It's been a week for us. And a big thanks to our diamond sponsor, Re-Earth. I hope they are still here. Yes, no. Our platinum sponsors, the ProCredit Bank and ITP, which is the venue where we are. Thank you. Our gold sponsors, Contour, who couldn't make it this year here, but they were very happy to share their tickets of participation with the community, with the local community, which helped us include more and more people. And then to all the silver sponsors, which I'm not gonna go one by one into because it's a lot of them, but thanks a lot for being part of this community and helping the community continuously. Same thing goes for the bronze sponsors. Thanks a lot. And all the supporting sponsors which completed the list of people that helped make this conference happen.